Hello and welcome to our channel. The enigmatic world of familiar spirits and witchcraft has captivated imaginations for centuries. These supernatural entities, often associated with dark magic and demonic influence, have been feared and revered in various cultures. From European and African folklore, where they served as companions to witches and warlocks, to religious traditions, where they were seen as spirit guides or malevolent beings, familiar spirits have left an enduring mark on human belief systems. To combat the influence of these spirits and the harmful effects of witchcraft, religious traditions offer a range of spiritual practices and beliefs. These include prayer, seeking divine guidance, and living a righteous life according to religious principles. However, while these practices may provide temporary relief, a more enduring solution lies in adhering to God's laws. By following divine commandments and forsaking sinful practices, individuals can create a spiritual barrier against negative influences, ultimately breaking free from the chains of generational curses, familiar spirits, and witchcraft. In this video, we will unravel the historical context of these supernatural entities, exploring their roots in European and African folklore. We'll delve into the perspectives of major religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, on familiar spirits, and learn about their recommended solutions. But that's not all. We'll also provide you with practical steps to protect yourself from these malevolent forces and understand the spiritual laws that govern hexes and curses. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with the knowledge to take back control and safeguard your spiritual well-being. Join us on this enlightening journey as we uncover the truths and dispel the myths surrounding familiar spirits and witchcraft. Stay tuned. Familiar spirits are supernatural entities featured in folklore and various belief systems. There are two main interpretations of this, that is, from the European and African folklore and the religious traditions. Familiar spirits are supernatural entities featured in folklore and various belief systems. There are two main interpretations of this, that is, from the European and African folklore and the religious traditions. In European and African folklore, familiar spirits were believed to be animal companions or lesser demons that assisted witches, warlocks, and cunning folk, or practitioners of folk magic, in their magical endeavors. These companions were seen as offering various services including protection, espionage and gathering information, assisting with spells and rituals, and providing advice and guidance. In religious traditions, familiar spirits can refer to spirits acting as spirit guides or mediums used to communicate with the dead. This concept is found in some pagan traditions, Spiritism, which is the belief in communicating with the deceased, and some interpretations of the Bible, where they are seen as demonic entities. Various religious recommendations are given to people who suffer from these spirits, and they include those based on a Christianity, Islam, or Judaism background. Recommendations based on Christianity. Christianity's perspective. Familiar spirits are often seen as demonic entities associated with negative influences, and witchcraft puts people under oppression through hexes. The recommended solution, prayer and seeking guidance from religious leaders, are common approaches. Some believe in the power of pronouncing blessings and claiming authority over one's life in the name of God to break any negative influence. Importance is placed on living a righteous life according to Christian principles to resist any demonic influence. Islam's perspective: jinn or spirits exist, and some can be malevolent. Witchcraft is seen as oppressive and can cause the victim to suffer through curses or spells. The recommended solution is reliance on Allah or God for protection. Seeking refuge in specific verses from the Quran is a common practice. Leading a moral life according to Islamic teachings is believed to offer protection. Judaism's perspective. The concept of familiar spirits isn't as prominent in traditional Judaism. However, some interpretations of the Bible reference negative spiritual influences. The recommended solution involves following the Torah, or religious teachings, and living a life devoted to God as ways to resist negative influences. Prayers and blessings might also be used for protection. Summary of general principles to deal with evil spirits from a religious perspective. Strengthening faith is emphasized by many religions as a means of protection from negative spiritual influences. Living a moral life, following religious teachings, and consulting religious leaders for prayers, advice, and spiritual guidance are common approaches. How witches hex people is mainly through the following ways. Intention. Setting a clear intention for the desired outcome is one of the main ingredients for them to perform a hex on anyone. Ritual. Witches often use rituals to focus their energy and channel it towards their intention. This might involve chanting, meditation, symbolic actions, or creating specific tools like talismans or charms. Correspondences. Witches often associate symbolic meanings with herbs, crystals, colors, and other elements. These correspondences are incorporated into rituals to amplify the desired effect. Energy manipulation. Witches believe in the existence of subtle energies that can be influenced. The goal is to direct this energy toward the intended purpose. Recommendations for clearing hexes off your life that have been sent by a witch are similar to those of dealing with familiar spirits. These recommendations from different religions do solve the problem, but only temporarily. The reason we are saying it's temporary is because we still have people who suffer from these spirits and hexes in the world today. If it was a permanent solution, we would have gotten rid of this problem permanently, once we follow the recommended solutions being offered by religion. Is there a solution that can solve this problem of familiar spirits permanently? The short answer to this question is, yes, there is a solution, and it lies in following God's laws. First, you need to understand how a witch can put a hex on you or how a familiar spirit can oppress you. Witches are very familiar with spiritual laws and understand where they can utilize loopholes in these laws to hex you. If you break God's laws, you give a legal ground or loophole for the witches and familiar spirits to operate in your life. So this means that if you get hexed by a witch, you have allowed these afflictions to be in your life knowingly or unknowingly by not following God's laws. Various cleansing recommendations offered around the world only work temporarily, and you have to keep doing cleansing rituals to be safe. Second, we need to understand that we can be suffering from familiar spirits or hexes, not because we have been bewitched, but because we have strayed from God's laws, or our forefathers did stray from God's laws, and we are suffering the consequences of those sins. Deuteronomy 5 verse 9 says, "Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them, for I the Lord thy God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me." This explains why we may suffer afflictions that feel like we don't deserve them or even understand them, but they are as a result of what our forefather did. But we are given hope in Jeremiah 31 verses 29, 30, and 34, which reads, "In those days they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more." This verse shows that we will no longer suffer because of our forefathers' sins, if we go back to obeying God's laws. Thus, this shows that we can easily break generational curses and hexes by simply deciding to obey God's laws. And, if we follow God's laws, some blessings will follow, and one of those blessings is being protected from our enemies as shown in Deuteronomy 28 verses 1 and 7, which reads, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways." This shows that if we follow God's laws, anyone or anything that comes to oppress us will be smitten and caused to flee in 7 ways. From these scriptures we see that you don't even need rituals for cleansing or go to church for a pastor to pray for you to be set free from familiar spirits. You only need to go to a silent place like your bedroom and do some precise and non-repetitive prayer to God, for He knows what we need before we even ask Him, as shown in Matthew 6 verses 6-8. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of, before ye ask Him. For God to answer your prayers before you even ask Him, all you need to do is to go back to observing God's laws in your life, and God Himself will be your protection. For anyone who does not obey the law, his prayers are an abomination to God, as shown in Proverbs 28 verses 9-10, which says, He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way, he shall fall himself into his own pit. But the upright shall have good things in possession. And that's how you stop giving legal ground to witches and familiar spirits to oppress you. Take back control of your life today, by obeying God's laws. And how do you get started in taking control of your life and breaking free from generational curses and hexes? You can start by obeying the 10 Commandments in Exodus 20. Thus, you can start by honoring the Sabbath day. Having no other gods, which means you only pray to our Creator. Not having idols and images, which means you don't use things like crystals and salt to pray, and you don't pray to ancestors and don't keep anything that resembles what God created. For example, you don't keep dolls that resemble a human, or toys that resemble animals that God created. This also includes not putting on hair extensions or artificial nails, because they resemble the real hair and nails that God created in a human. When you break God's laws by having such items as dolls, animal-like toys, hair extensions and so on, you give legal ground for witches and familiar spirits to attack you. Gain back control of your life by obeying these commandments, and as you continue to learn the Torah from the Old Testament and the Gospel in the New Testament, God will help you grow in His ways. Thank you for watching this video. If you did like the information contained in this video, please like, subscribe, and share so the knowledge can be shared widely. Until next time, shalom and stay blessed.